G'day guys, and welcome back to another video, another DVD update for you. We're in April now, aren't we? Now I did actually record this DVD update. I think it probably got a week and a half ago, I think, but for some reason, somehow managed to delete it. So I have to do it again, and I can't really remember quite what I said in the last my last video. I've sort of watched these sort of a couple of weeks ago, so might miss a few bits, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so the first one I got here is a horror collection box set, which, yeah, I wouldn't really class them as horror, but anyway, here we go. I think they're all sort of pardon me, Bruce Campbell type movies. So first one I got is a Bubba Hu-Tep. It's kind of like a 3-pack, so I've got 3 movies here. Yeah, it's a Bubba Hu-Tep, which is a very odd sort of movie. Essentially, Bruce Campbell plays Elvis in a retirement home. Sort of, it's a bit of a story of Elvis, I suppose, after he's, well, the thing is, he's supposed to be still alive, the story is that that Elvis sort of swapped with an Elvis impersonator because he was getting a bit sick of the sick of being Elvis, and that person died. Obviously, the Elvis impersonator died. So now he's sort of living in a retirement home. So Bruce Campbell's sort of playing him, and the other sort of part of the story is that it's kind of like this sort of demon that's sort of coming into the retirement home and sort of killing people to sort of, steal their souls or whatever it is. So it's a very interesting sort of storyline to it. It's actually not a bad movie. Sort of the Elvis sort of part and the backstory and the story of him and the way about Bruce, way Bruce Campbell plays Elvis is actually quite good. Probably the sort of horror element or the demon sort of side of it's not all that. I didn't think it was all that interesting, I suppose, but I thought it was a fairly decent sort of movie. I think it's a very sort of low budget type movie. Not sort of all that much sort of horror action to it. It's more low key sort of thing. But it is actually quite not a bad movie. I didn't think. Next one I got in the pack, one called I Sell the Dead, which has got Dominic Morgan. It would be, wouldn't it? I think Ron Perlman. Yeah, I didn't think it was. I don't know. It wasn't all that good. It was just sort of a time-filling type movie, I suppose. I think it's set was it 900s or something, and yeah, the sort of the main two. I think Ron Perlman basically he's like a priest or something, and these two are like sort of like grave robbers or something, and they. Sort of kind of like a Frankenstein type thing maybe, and they sort of get paid by this doctor to go out and sort of steal dead bodies or whatever, and then bring them back to the doctor so he can do his experiments on them or whatever. So essentially that's what it's about. This the two grave robbers. It's just about them sort of they sort of grow up and just about their work and what they do and stuff. It's yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't too bad. I didn't think it was all that sort of fantastic, I suppose. It's sort of interesting sort of storyline told, I suppose, though. Sort of about grave robbing, and it's a bit of a sort of comedy, I suppose. Comedy sort of kind of horror. It's not all that much horror to it, though. I thought probably more of a comedy, really. I thought, but it wasn't too bad. This one is called I Am Bruce. Another one which wasn't really that much of a horror. Essentially, Bruce Campbell's sort of playing himself, kind of like a washed up sort of B-grade actor or something, and it's kind of like a what's that film? There's 2 films, isn't there? The Three Amigos and the Deep, what's that Star Quest? movie, Star Quest. Yeah, Star Quest, I think it's called. You know, with Sigourney Weaver and whatever. And essentially, you know, Bruce Campbell. The fans sort of watch there's people from this town that sort of watch Bruce Campbell movies and think he's like a real, you know, kind of like a real person. Sort of same as like Three Amigos or whatever. And they're having this problem with the demon, so they basically kidnap Bruce and, you know, to give him a hand trying to get rid of this demon and stuff. Well, I didn't think it was all that good. It wasn't. It had an interesting sort of idea, I suppose, behind it, and it sort of started out alright, but I think it sort of dipped in the middle, and I got a bit bored with it, and nothing really much sort of happened in it after that. So that's the little horror box set. I don't think it was all that much of a horror, to be honest, but anyway, put them back. I think it was pretty cheap, sort of off Amazon. So got that. That's what I got. I got Terminator Salvations, sort of special edition type thing, which was really cheap. Director's cut or something. And so, I mean, it was really cheap, and I probably wasn't shouldn't have been expecting too much, but it's real. I mean, it looks pretty cool on camera, I suppose. All sort of shiny, and you know, and it's just got the back on it, and it's just got the little thing opens up, and then you just got the little, you know, the disc inside. But it's real. It's pretty cheap, plasticky type thing. It's not really all that great. I think I bought it second hand, just off Amazon, I think, and got a few, you know, things in here, and I think it's even got the receipt in here too. I think the guy that I bought it off just left the receipt. So from HMV receipt. When did you buy it? 2000 something. Somewhere here. Yeah, 2009. November 2009. So I think you pay, was it $18 for it? I think I paid 15 or something for it. So it's used, but it looks like it hasn't. I think it's brand new. You watched it once and then, you know, just sort of resold it. I think I've already got it. I've already got this movie on Blu-ray already, but it's kind of, you know, like a cool special edition. So I thought I'd just sort of grab it. Yeah, it's alright. I'm just out of my collection. It's a bit sort of, some of the cardboard's a bit busted, but anyway. I don't think it's not too bad of a movie, I suppose. Well, it's very different, perhaps, to the first three. But I still didn't think it was too bad of a movie. I noticed there's a few extra sort of scenes, or a scene taken out. I think if you watch I've watched the original, the theatrical cut, and that's got an extra scene in it compared to this director's cut. Same with Inception. I think there's a scene cut out of the director's cut compared to the original one. Which I'm not sure why they cut out some of these scenes. I don't know. I also got the Spiderman trilogy, which I sort of did a bit of a video about a little while ago. This one I got was one that I heard a lot of really good things about. The Moon. I'd say, yeah, I was a bit sort of disappointed with this one. I watched it probably a week or two ago. Had a lot of good things about it. It's not sort of a bad movie. It's just that I am a pretty big sort of sci-fi fan. So I've sort of watched lots of other movies that are sort of very similar to this, and I just didn't sort of find this one all that original, to be honest. Reminded me of a lot of other movies, Solaris and 2001: Space Odyssey, and even perhaps a bit of Blade Runner in there. I think a bit of a Blade Runner type esque sort of sci-fi to it as well. Essentially, it's about Sam Rockwell. He's the actor. He's on he's got a contract. He's sort of on the moon. I think he's in charge of like some harvest or something on the moon. They're sort of harvesting something, and he's sort of up there. It's been up there for about 3 years or something, and he's sort of got about a week or two to go before he can go home again and see his wife and etc. etc. And he has like an accident in one of the sort of harvester things. He's I don't know, call it a moon car, I suppose, but his little car he's driving. He has an accident in that, and then sort of finds out that that things aren't quite as as he thought they were. And I mean, it's definitely probably a good movie. As I said before, I'd sort of seen a lot of other movies with very sort of similar sort of storylines to it, so it didn't sort of appeal to me. I did sort of find it a bit boring, perhaps sort of in the middle, and it was a bit. Yeah, I should probably watch it again, but it was. Yeah, I just wasn't all that. I sort of got a bit bored with it after a while. So, but it's a good movie. I think if you're not necessarily a huge sci-fi fan, so maybe then you might perhaps enjoy it a bit more. This one I got is as I said before, I'm not a huge Nicolas Cage fan, but for some reason I sort of bought 2 of his movies here. So I'm sort of buying his movies. I think I'm just a bit curious, I suppose, in more of his movies. I've got Ghost Rider, Nicolas Cage and Eve Mendes. She seems to be in a lot of his movies too. They seem to be both in the same, a lot of the same sort of movies. I don't think this is too bad. About sort of Nicolas Cage sort of growing up in like a circus, and he's like a stunt rider, just like his father, and his father gets cancer, and he sort of makes a deal with the devil to save his father, and he sells his soul to the devil or something, and of course he's indebted to the devil, and he's got to basically become the devil's the devil's bitch. Devil's, I don't know, there's a word for it, I don't know. Like he's bounty hunter or something like that. So it's just about that. But it had some really good sort of, good, decent sort of, action scenes in it, and I sort of really enjoyed watching it. I haven't sort of seen the second one, but I probably might track that down perhaps at some point and watch that. But I thought that was pretty decent, really. Nothing, too flash, I suppose. I got probably his worst film, or I've heard it's his worst film. The Wicker Man, which was, it was alright. I have sort of seen the original years and years ago, and this is pretty much nothing really new compared to that. Nicolas Cage is, he's like a cop, and he's sort of, he gets like I think it's a letter from one of his ex-fiancée who's sort of left him with the altar or whatever it is, and she says that her baby's been kidnapped, I think, and so he sort of goes to help her out on this kind of like an island, I think it is, away from society, I suppose, and they're a bit sort of backwards back there, I suppose, a bit of a sort of a very quiet sort of back, sort of quiet town, and not perhaps used to sort of city folk or whatever coming in, and a bit of sort of pagan rituals and stuff going on, and and Nicolas Cage sort of a city cop, and he's a bit perhaps over the top compared to some of the country folk are sort of quiet and sort of keep themselves, and he sort of goes in there all gung ho, trying to find out about this missing child or whatever and stuff. I didn't think it was too bad. I sort of knew what was going to happen because I've sort of seen the original, and it's pretty obvious what's going to happen. But I didn't think it was too bad. Okay, I've got 2 more to go. Something for something a bit different. I've got one called Belle De Jour, which is like a sort of French film, I think from the 60s, I think. So it's like a Studio Carnel type digibook type thing, which is essentially about I think it's sort of based on. I think this is what they sort of based the what's that TV show with Billy Piper? Secret Life of a Call Girl or something like that. I think this is sort of based on a book, I think this is as well, but this is like a film, and the book, and there's this film, and then you've got the TV, so sort of all on the same sort of storyline, I guess. It's about the main character, and she's I think she's sort of a bit bored with life, with life with her husband, and so she's like during the day she becomes like a prostitute, I suppose, in a brothel. She sort of gets bored, and so she does this to sort of add a bit of excitement. So like during the day she goes to brothel, and then comes home at 5 o'clock just before her husband gets home, and he doesn't know anything about it, sort of thing, and just essentially about sort of what happens to her in the brothel, and a bit sort of sexual sort of thing going on, like I don't know, bondage and all that sort of stuff. But I didn't think it was too bad. Probably a lot. Sometimes I get a bit bored with some of these sort of 70s, 60s, sort of 70 60s sort of 70s type movies. Sometimes they can be a little bit boring and a bit I don't know, maybe very exciting for the time, but these days are perhaps a little bit tame. But I didn't think it was too bad. I should probably watch it again. I think the end didn't make a whole lot of sense. I think it's sort of like a, you know, one of those ends you sort of got to interpret. And I think I even read somewhere that the writer and the directors basically have no idea what the end means. So I think they've just sort of put in, you know, crazy end just to make it exciting and, you know, get people to sort of talk about it, I guess. But definitely it's sort of, you know, nice sort of digibook type edition. Some of the sort of, I don't know if you actually can see that, but some of the printing sort of run, yeah, it's not terribly, perhaps a little bit disappointed with that, because these were perhaps a little bit more expensive than your normal sort of, you know, just normal sort of DVD. But it comes with a little book in there as well and everything. So it's Belle De Jour. I think it was, yeah, 1970s, I think, 70 something. And yeah, it's sort of, I don't know, it's all sort of peeling off, and you can sort of see there's a bit of glue mark there, and a bit there, a bit there, a bit there. It's not real. Doesn't seem very put together very well. Next one I got is the one I was actually sort of, when I was sort of looking at this one, I sort of saw this one as well. But I decided just to get, because these were, you know, a bit more expensive, I decided to just get one of these and just to sort of see what the condition was going to be like, what sort of special features it came with. So I saw this other one, but I didn't actually buy that one when I bought this one. I actually found this one a lot cheaper. I think I found it for like, I think it was like $3, I think. I was going to buy some more, but they don't let you sort of buy one at a time. Just I think it was through Amazon, I think it was. Oh, actually, I think it might have been another site. Anyway, I think it's called Last Year at Marienbad, which is another sort of French movie from the 60s, sort of black and white type movie. Again, it's a bit, I don't know, a few sort of black smudge marks all over, which wasn't terribly sort of happy, but it's got, you know, a slip cover and sort of other, you know, sort of CD and another sort of booklet. Kind of like I think it's a Criterion release. Because yeah, I'm a bit of a fan of sort of French type cinema. I also find it very interesting to watch. Very interesting, very sort of arty, and it's very sort of visual and great storylines too. A lot of them. So this one's sort of set 1961. I think this came out. French, black and white. Which I didn't mind this one. It was very different. It was very artsy. It's essentially about like a man and a woman, or actually a man and a woman and her husband, I think. So it's kind of like a three-way triangle type thing going on. Essentially this, we sort of meet the main two, that, you know, just this man and the lover, I suppose, the lover and the woman. Just sort of met at this sort of hotel, and he's convinced that they sort of met last year and had this sort of wild sort of romance, and she basically can't remember it. She's sort of denying that this sort of romance sort of happened last year, and so essentially the film was just about sort of him sort of explaining to her and just sort of going in depth of what they did, and basically he's just describing every single thing that they did, like, you know, the way they were walking across the gravel road, and how she sort of broke her shoes, and what colour her shoes were, and, you know, what the wind was there, and the trees, what sort of colour the trees leaves were, and all this sort of in depth. Just, it's very sort of dialogue driven, very visual too at the same time. But sometimes you get the visuals sort of don't necessarily match, you know, what's sort of being said. Like, he's describing this big scene of it, there's actually something else happening on the screen, and you might sort of have like a room full of people, but the two main characters are the only ones that are sort of talking or moving. The rest are all just sort of standing there silent and not doing anything at all. It's sort of in the background, and it's sort of focusing just on these sort of two main, you know, the lover and the woman. We don't necessarily sort of see much of the husband, I suppose. And we don't necessarily know what their names are either. I think they're called, like, I think she's called M, and the lover's called X, and something, and the husband's called something else. You know, just one letter type thing. It's very sort of arty, and lots of dialogue, and perhaps, I don't know, a bit boring, I suppose. Maybe some people might find it a bit boring, but I found it perhaps a little bit in the boring, perhaps a little bit in the middle there. I was getting bored with it, but it's definitely, I don't know, definitely very interesting sort of movie to watch, and very arty, and just very interesting. Great sort of dialogue and interesting visuals to it. Very sort of black and white. Sort of sometimes it's very contrasted between very bright white light, and then the next scene it'd flash back to something really dark and black sort of thing. But yeah, I think this definitely wasn't a bad movie. Yeah, so that's what was it called? The Last Year of Marienbad. Yeah. So yeah, that's my little update. Bit of a bit of a contrast there, I suppose, on different things. Happy Easter for the other day to everyone out there. Hope you didn't eat too much chocolate. Hope you enjoyed my little quick update. Well, not quick. Me crabbing on for about 20 minutes or so. If you want to leave any comments, I'd appreciate that. Anything you suggest that I watch. If you've sort of seen any of these, certainly, you know, certainly leave a comment. I should hopefully be making another video sometime soon. Yeah, until next time, we'll see you later on. Bye.
You call that a Blu-ray? Now that's a Blu-ray.